there's going to be some disappointment in the list. Some names aren't going to be on there, yo. I mean, that's just how it rolls. Some names that you think that probably were on there aren't going to be on there. You know, I mean, these people have to protect themselves, and people protect themselves. And I go back to a poll that I put out a while back. Do you trust the government? Resounding numbers said they still don't. So, and something came out last night. I think it came out last night. That speaks to that. Somebody posted on X that that some FBI files have been deleted. Well, from the Epstein list. Well, if that's the case, you can't trust it. You can't trust this if that's happening, or if that has happened to the list. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. We are back. It is Tuesday, March 11th. I am under the weather today. I'm not feeling too hot, but we're going to do the show, and we're going to bring it to you live. I am live from Baltimore. Blue Eyes there is lauding from Minnesota, Duluth. No, I'm kidding. Whatever those cities are up there.
Andover, but
yeah. Wilderness, Minnesota. But we're happy to be here. For all of you Facebook viewers, LinkedIn, welcome back. Twitter, X, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Getter, Spreely, Cozy, Getter. Did I say Getter? And I always want to say, Getter, you're not forgotten. You're not forgotten. As a matter of fact, I really don't look at comments too much, but yesterday I was noticing y'all, and I responded a couple of times. So I want y'all to let you know that y'all are never forgotten. LinkedIn, I want to appreciate y'all, and also the people over at LinkedIn, because I didn't back in 2019. My LinkedIn was shut down. That's when these Section 230 it went into effect and stuff, and they shut me down in 2019, and I didn't get my account back until maybe 4 or 5 months ago. So I want to thank LinkedIn for allowing us to broadcast on that platform. Facebook, whatever, Facebook, y'all be playing sometime. But I want to thank, and we're still on Facebook. Told you we were going to leave. So y'all need to start sharing. Y'all need to start sharing on Facebook, please. Thank you so much. But yeah, we want to thank everybody out there for tuning in. We're broadcasting on Red Voice Media. Don't forget to check out rvmnews.com. Check out what they're doing over there. If you have seen some of the stories on my Facebook page, or you follow them on Twitter, X, or whatnot, you see that they really put a lot into the stories that they create and stuff. So make sure that you check them out as another voice of conservatism and America first. Like I said, Mr. Jason Robinson. What's up, Jason?
Hey, folks! Happy Tuesday! Welcome to the Wayne Dupree podcast. I gotta say, you log in. I'm like, what are we going to talk about today? And Wayne's under the weather, and it's like, we're going to talk about deep dive into Medicaid. I'm like, oh my gosh! Here I thought we were going to share funny videos or talk about the green card guy that got deported. Something nice and fun. Yeah. We're going to school. We're going to college today. Giddy up!
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Did you go sit out in that 70-degree weather? Is that why you got sick?
You know what's crazy? No, I did not. I did open up the window.
Oh,
I did open up the window, and everything was nice. for some reason, now I went to sleep with the window open.
Oh,
I woke up this morning and it was cold in my house. It was very cold in my house. As a matter of fact, when my son came in from working at night, he walked in, it was colder in the house than it was outside. It was like maybe, I mean, it's supposed to be 70 degrees again today, but it had to be about maybe close to 60, 62, 63 outside. It was warm. It was like 52 in the house, and I'm like, oh my God. No wonder.
Yeah, yesterday was great in Minnesota. Had the windows open, turned off the heat, getting some fresh air in here. But yeah, I closed windows last night and then got up this morning. It was like 62 in the house. I'm like, geez, I should have turned the furnace back on.
Yeah, and look,
what are we
and
doing?
it's funny because when he came in, I was like, yeah, it is kind of cold. So I turned the heat on. The heat was on for about 30 minutes. And then I guess he ordered something. When he opened up the door again, he's like, man, it's getting hot outside. I was like, oh. So I turned off the heat. I was like, it's off for the day. Off for the day. Because again, it's supposed to be over 70. I got to clean that grill. I just don't feel good today. But I got to clean that grill because, Jason, I can't get that smoky smell out of my house. So, I mean, it's like every time when I come downstairs, I got to smoke some chicken, man.
The Wayne Dupree Fire Brigade in his house.
I got to smoke some ribs. God, dog, man, it smells like a steakhouse.
Microwaving fish or something just to get a new smell.
The worst thing to do is to
have a fire in your house.
No, this happened to me one time. You know those heat and eat jobs that you get from the supermarket?
Yeah.
Stouffer's, to me, used to have the best sweetest meatball heat and eat jobs. And when I was in the military, boy, I bought those by the pound and put them in the freezer because I was like, well, I was just heating them up. I mean, I had it on expert level, the way to heat them up, and the noodles were great. And we go, well, when you buy out all of them, then there's other stuff, and I was like, seafood scampi or something like that.
Oh.
So I took it to the office, and
oh no, you were that guy, the microwave seafood in the break room guy.
Oh man, it stunk. It stunk. Look, if you've ever seen that whack-a-mole game, man, it brought people from the dead. What in the hell is that? What is that? And you have to keep your head down, like, I don't know.
Right? Yeah, who's the dirt that might?
Yeah.
It's like Jed and I in the house when crab goes on sale. We have this local kind of organic-y store that'll run crab like $5.99 a pound. We'll go buy just tons of it, throw it in the chest freezer. But then every time you cook it, your house smells like crab for like a week.
Yeah.
Although you might need to do something like that, Wayne. Get a new smell. It probably still smells like fireplace in there.
It does. Well, I mean, it smells like it smells like great wood. That's what it smells like. It smells like a cabin in here. But I mean, it smells like somebody's been smoking food all night long, and it's been that way for about over a week or so. I'm asking a question about Medicare because my sister called me up last night. I didn't know this. And I know if I didn't know this, there's a whole lot of other people that don't know this.
Now, Medicare or Medicaid?
Medicaid. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Medicaid. I did not know this. When my mom was alive, we waited until the last minute really to get her in the nursing home because she couldn't take care of herself.
Yep.
And we couldn't be there 24/7 to take care. And we were getting tired of, oh man.
Wayne just had brain freeze.
No, we're getting tired of people saying that they were seeing her walking the street. So they had to pick her up and take her back to the nursing home. I mean, to the apartment that she was staying in. Because it was a close-knit town, so they knew my mom. So when they saw her walking along the street and, they would say, that's Miss Dupree, So we had to put her in nursing home. We went through all the paperwork, did all that stuff and everything. And, the Medicaid. So my sister got a letter from the state saying that we owed $68,000 for Medicaid. I was like, what? What? I mean, yeah, okay, the nursing home, but something should have took care of that. Why are we paying 60? Why do we have to pay $68,000 for this? And my sister called and talked to them and all that stuff and everything. Turns out, thank the Lord, that she didn't own anything. She didn't own anything. She didn't own a house. She doesn't have any assets or anything like that. So it's almost like a write-off for the Medicaid side.
Right.
But when I put that online last night and I mentioned that, one person was like, yeah, my mom had to get rid of the house.
Yep.
To take care of the medical, to take care of it. I was like, what? That's not right. That's not right. I mean, people, now move the veteran thing aside. People work their whole lives. They pay into insurance their whole lives. They do the right thing all their lives. And then when they die, the state or whoever still comes out.
Government takes all the money.
That's crazy. That's not right.
Right.
And believe me, we aren't in a position to pay $68,000. And there's a whole lot of other people out there that can't pay that. And for other families, Jay, those bills are probably a whole lot more than that. They can't pay that. And they don't know this. And that's why I wanted to kind of put that out there. It's like, hey, y'all need to know some things about this Medicaid thing so that y'all are ready for it just in case it ever happens. Because I know some people are like, well, that's why we haven't moved our mom or dad into the nursing home because we already knew about that. Well, great. Y'all got a big jump on it. But there's a whole lot of other people that don't know about this letter that comes months after your loved one is in the ground. You're in your house, you watching TV, you get a letter saying you might have to put your house up for sale. Jay, talk to me. Did you know about that? Did you know about this?
We lived through this, and I'll start with kind of two overall problems that we're talking about. One, in America at our founding, part of what your goal as an American citizen was to build your empire, whatever that was, however big or small it was, and pass it down to your kids. And eventually, as civilization changed and the government got involved, that concept went away. And there was no, you used to hey, your dad would build a farm, you'd take over the farm, or he'd build a business, you'd take over the business. And they've slowly eroded that. The second thing is in the 60s, the government got involved in insurance. And, for Medicare, it's designed to help old people. For Medicaid, it's designed to help poor people. Both programs are super confusing. Medicaid, especially because it's different state by state.
Yeah.
So in Maryland or Minnesota, we have different Medicaid rules. You have kind of guiding principles where it helps old people. Or poor people. Medicaid is poor people. Medicare is old people. Is kind of how the breakdown is. But our story was, Medicare is for old people, 65 and older. Medicaid is for poor people. So there's usually earnings qualifications. And then it gets complicated because sometimes you can be old and poor. and qualify for both Medicare, Medicaid, need to know which program's better. It's designed to be confusing, I think, so people don't know. But in Minnesota, to use an example, Jen's dad moved up here. He was no longer able to care for himself and live on his own. We had to put him in an old folks home. It was one of those kind of escalating ones where it starts out independent living, like they have a little kitchenette. And then as they mentally decline, they kind of take that stuff out and he's got to go eat in the cafeteria. And then eventually it gets to full on memory care. So he's in the same facility and kind of moves around rooms a little bit. But in Minnesota, to qualify, you have to give a full financial statement. Here's all the money you owe. So here's a guy who worked his entire life deep into his 60s, union job with pensions and everything, accumulated, good equity in his home, a couple $100,000. Plus he had money coming in with his pensions and stuff on top of Social Security. And how it worked in Minnesota is we had to put him in and pay the 10 grand a month or whatever the number was until he was broke. And then the government stepped in with, I believe it was Medicaid, it could have been Medicare, to start paying for his care. But if you're an old person and you end up in one of these care facilities, every penny you own will be gone. And overall, I don't think they'll go after you for more than you were owed, generally speaking. Like they'll try to, they'll send you a letter. But yeah, and like Patriot says, you have to get everything out of your loved one's name 7 years before putting anybody in a nursing home. It's funny. Jen and I are in our 50s, or I'm in my 50s. Jen gets there this weekend. And one of the things we're already talking about is how do we start shifting assets to our kids?
Right.
Because like, how do we help them start a business or whatever we're going to do? Because you can give X amount of money to your kids every year. And it's different, check your tax rules for whatever. I think it's like 14,000 a year or something. But if you wait till you go to the nursing home, like they're just going to take it all. And which is so tragic because you'll have these people who a lot of times in their house, you might have $200,000-$300,000 worth of equity sitting in your house, whatever your house is worth. And then all of a sudden, because you paid on that thing for your whole life, finally, get it paid off. Then you go in the nursing home and after, 10 grand a year, 3 years in there, like, your $300,000 all gone. So yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. I mean, believe me, I'm sitting there listening to my sister talk about it. And, she kind of broke down a little bit, but she called them and she talked to them and, they talked, the people at the Medicaid place talked to her through and how to fill it out and stuff. And, again, mom didn't have anything. Mom didn't have any savings. Mom didn't have anything at all. And never owned a house. So yeah. But the more I thought about it, I was like, wow.
Here's what's really wild about Medicaid too. Whatever your political persuasions are, I mean, this is just kind of how it's written. So Medicare, the old people benefit, like there is a certain requirements for like working and paying into the system. Medicaid, there's none. So that's why in many states, people who are undocumented, illegal, whatever term you want to use for them, they qualify for Medicaid because they're state-run programs. So you come in, you're poor, you're broke, you're from a third world country, and American citizens who are paying into Medicaid are paying your bills. And it creates kind of a disincentive too, because if you think of how it's structured to keep poor people poor, you get a certain amount of government benefits like SNAP and food stamps, rent assistance, if you make to X amount of money, plus you get your medical and stuff covered through Medicaid, and let's say just talk around number up 50 grand. Like when you start making more than that, they start clawing back your benefits and paying you less. So you really don't see an increase in your quality of living by working. So
Yes.
there's this tipping point on there where, like, if you work to make 50, 60 grand a year, you're better off not working, because why would I go work 40, 50 hours a week when I can enjoy the same quality of life for free off the government? It's terrible. And it's taken a good program we all agree with. Like, we want to help disadvantaged people, people that hit rough times, all that kind of stuff. And it's created an incentive system for folks to do it. And I mean, if you're an illegal, like, of course, I'm sitting in Guatemala in a mud hut. Do I want to do that, or come to America and get, free housing and, free money and get my medical insurance paid for? It's crazy.
With Medicaid is jointly financed by the federal and states.
Yep.
Okay, so
and states determine rules too, so it varies.
Right now, with all the cutting that's going on, is Medicaid affected by this cutting that's going on right now?
Yes and no. The cuts that they're looking to do on Medicaid are eliminating the administrative costs and looking at some of the people and the benefits they're receiving to determine if they should receive benefits. For example, there's a huge administrative cost for administering Medicaid. Can they do it more efficiently to cut costs? Yes. And that's what they're looking to cut. In some states, they're asking the federal government's asking the question, and Elon, Doge, Trump, whoever you want to look at, should we be paying for some of the folks that are coming to America illegally, for example? And, should we burden the American taxpayer with their paying for their benefits when they've not been in here contributing? So I know the left-wing media likes to wave their hands and scream, we're cutting Medicaid. The goal of it is, how do we make sure American citizens who are in need get the aid at the same level they're getting? To do that, we have to cut some administrative costs and look at who's on it. That's where, like, the work requirements part of Medicaid is essentially, just oversimplifying it, they're trying to say, if you're an able-bodied person that can work, you should work and get yourself off Medicaid so that people that really need Medicaid can take it.
You said earlier that some illegals were able to get Medicaid, right?
Yes, because they're poor.
So when they pass, because they probably don't have any assets.
No, we just absorb that.
So Medicaid absorbs it like a write-off, then.
Generally speaking, and nothing's all the time, but even American citizens, like that $68,000 bill you got, you would contest it. And because your mom didn't have any assets, they generally don't go after your assets as the kid or the parent. Where it could get problematic is if your mom moved money to you a year before she died, then they could go after you. So yeah, they like to send the scare letters, but they don't really, nobody will pay. But yeah, I mean, if you're an illegal, let's say you're a 45-year-old illegal, you come here, you immediately qualify in many states because you're below the income threshold. And then you sit on Medicaid. And then let's say you're on that for 5 years, you never really get a job and contribute. And then you pass away, you have a heart attack and die. All that expense you never paid a cent into to cover, and the American taxpayer gets to eat all that.
So okay. So bottom line is, well, I mean, and I've heard that a person needs to divest their holdings to their family members 5 years, 7 years, 10 years ahead of time.
I think generally 7, but is when you want to have it done by, but it depends on the state.
Okay. So that okay. All right. I got it.
Yeah. So like for us, Jen and I will look at our kids and say, okay, how do we make sure we have enough for our retirement? And then how do we make sure we get some of that money to the kids? Because I mean, honestly, when you're old, like your mom would have loved nothing more than to be able to pass something on to you and the kids and the grandkids. But the way the system's structured, if you don't do it before you need that, before you need that in-home care or living in a facility, like they'll just take it all from you.
Every time when I think about that, I'm like, man, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. This is,
It's insane.
No, oof.
Well, and here's what's terrifying too. And I mean, people make this point about immigrants. We have such a robust safety net that you can't just continue to open up your country to people from other countries because for just economic reasons, because they're going to come in, their lifestyle will, like, you can't have unlimited immigration and unlimited welfare. Like, the country goes bankrupt.
Yeah. And that's and I think I saw somewhere where the Trump administration says that there are 21 million illegals in the country. Dude, man.
Yeah, it's probably like
more than that.
Right?
It's more than that. I mean, they've been coming here since longer than the 80s, but that, I guess that's when
Reagan made a bunch of them legal, so that kind of reset whatever year that was.
Yeah. But for some reason, 21 million. Yeah, there's a little back and forth going on in the, I guess you can say, the MAGA movement right now, between President Trump and Thomas Massie. This thing is blowing up. This thing is really blowing up, especially on the echo chamber that is X. Some people are like, if you don't follow what President Trump says, you're wrong. And there's some people that are straight forming a line behind Thomas Massie. What do you think, Jay, from Minnesota?
I love Thomas Massie. I do not agree with Thomas Massie 100% of the time. I will not back him 100% of the time. I love that he actually voted against the COVID spending when Trump was president. He has taken some very principled responses. He's actually kind of a neat guy too. He's the guy that makes the debt badge Wayne and I love to show off.
Yes.
And I like his libertarian fiscal policy. And honestly, if you ever go check out like videos of his farm, super cool. He has like an off the grid farm where he reuses Tesla batteries. In this one, he is taking a ridiculous principled stance. And what President Trump is saying is we need to pass the CR, keep it clean, and then get to work on a budget deal and get the budget deal passed.
But how clean is it if it keeps Biden spending?
I'll get to that.
Okay.
I'll get to that. Trump saying, I want 6 months to get this done, get a real budget. September, October, we have a real budget in place. We get the cuts, rah, rah, rah. Thomas Massie is making a valid point that the CR is locking in the spending that Biden had and the Doge stuff and all the things we're bitching about. And so he's right. And Trump should concede, in my opinion, some of that. Like, yeah, let's cut this back. Let's cut that back. Because Republicans can pass this bill without Democrats. So Massey's right to dig in. Now, if Massie is going to take a stance that he wants the October bill now, which is a very balanced budget and that sort of thing, like that's unrealistic. If he says, let's at least make some headway on this, let's cut 500 billion or whatever the number is. I think that's principled, but this is one of those times where these guys doing it out in the public sphere, like those two guys need to go grab a beer and sit down and say, like, what do you want to get done? I know Donald Trump doesn't drink, but he can drink a Diet Coke and just say, okay, how do we get this done, Thomas? We need your vote, So, and all the people that are, and here's the thing, Thomas Massie understands compromise because he compromised on the Biden continuing resolution or omnibus bill that he cut with McCarthy that eliminated the debt ceiling, which was the worst financial deal I've ever seen us make on a conservative side. he was the key vote that let it get out of committee. So you're taking this principled stance against President Trump, but you let Biden have a pass. Sorry, bro. Like it's time to hop in line. Let's give Trump the 6 months it takes to get a real budget. But I understand his position.
Yeah, for me, as long as y'all been watching me, I've always been against increasing or these continuing resolutions. I don't care who's in there. I've always been against continuing resolutions. And the reason why is because they keep spending money that we don't have.
Right.
Jason gave me this.
Everybody in America should have one of those. Deathmatch.com.
And this thing. Jason gave me this, and you made a monster with me. This because and again, this is Thomas Massey's thing.
Yeah, it's Debt Badge. It shows the current federal deficit linked up to the government system.
$55,000 per second.
Yeah.
$55,000 per second. That does.
Oh, yeah. I love when we do the reboot too, and it says like the numbers per person, per taxpayer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, oh, it just makes you sick.
Jesus. And the thing is, and I tweeted this out earlier, when I left the Democrat Party, it's called names and stuff, and I learned that they groupthink, stand in line, everybody falls in line, or if you don't, then you're made fun of and whatnot. And when I left and I joined the conservative movement, Tea Party movement and whatnot, I was under the assumption that, wow, I can, I have a voice here. I can say what I need to, and they're going to call me names for it. Some might agree, some won't agree, but they understand freedom of speech over here. That was in 2007. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not 2007 anymore. I understand exactly what Thomas Massey is doing. I understand what a whole lot of principled constitutional conservatives are doing. But if they don't toe the line, they're called names. I ain't talking about Democrats. I'm talking about our side. They're called names. They're muted, blocked, excommunicated, told that they aren't Republican. And that's another thing too. I need to know from our chat. I need to know something. How many of y'all in there consider yourself MAGA? How many people in the chat consider themselves MAGA? Please put it in there. Yes, me. Put me. Yes,
everybody.
Yeah. I want to see it. I want to see whether it's Getter, or whether it's Facebook, or I mean, these people are a little bit slow in answering, aren't they? Okay.
Well, there's a little delay too.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just move it like this. If you can, okay, there we go. Look at him. Populating now, right? Okay.
Oh yeah.
So if you consider yourself MAGA, does that mean that you are a Republican?
No.
Thank you, Jay. But I mean, thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. Okay, but here's the thing, y'all. When Republicans do what they do, I'm talking about Republicans who don't call themselves MAGA, but when Republicans do what they do, why do y'all call them rhinos? If MAGA isn't Republican, why do y'all call Republicans rhinos when they're Republicans? It's almost like y'all want to be Republicans, or you're mad because they are destroying the Republican name when you're MAGA. You see where I'm going, Jason? It's like they're, I don't know. I'm not saying defending the name Republican, but it's like they're trying to protect what they're trying to just to, I don't know, fix. I don't know.
You
I don't
make
get
an
it.
important point that I think is where we're seeing, and I saw in the chat earlier, like Paul Reese, shout out Paul Reese, Split Rock Coffee, splitrockcoffee.com. He was talking about we're going to see major transformation in America. And I think here's what we're realizing. MAGA, and folks can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, we realize Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, all those clowns were just as bad as Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi. And we created a new movement very similar to the Tea Party, same kind of vibes. We called it MAGA. We related to President Trump, even though he was a moderate Clinton Democrat. And most of his positions haven't changed all that much since he was a moderate Clinton Democrat. And we are looking to take over the Republican Party because you can't start a third party. I mean, if you could, we would have our own. You can, it's just not feasible. That's the reality of it. So we went in, we took over the Republican Party because we aligned enough with them. It's no different than what the squad's trying to do with the Democrats. The squad is attempting to take your corporate Democrat Party and make it a bunch of insane communists. MAGA's doing the same with the Republican Party.
Kev said you are into these labels. No, I see what's being done online. I mean, you're saying I'm into the labels, and I'm saying that I'm seeing MAGA call out Republicans and say that they're rhinos when they're really Republicans. That's who they are. MAGA is not Republican. They may be taking over the Republican Party to make it MAGA, but MAGA is not Republican. Okay.
Right.
Juanita says the Republican Party is dead. Basically, well, in a way it's not, but it's on its way. Yes.
The reality for the Republican Party is if they don't keep an America First agenda and MAGA people become disinterested in the Republican Party, they're done. Like they'll get 30% of the electorate.
Robert Stave said the funny part of your comment, you're attacking. I'm not attacking MAGA, Robert. And
All right, let's go to a funner comment. I want to know what SS Tories, Wayne Cats only have 4 legs. I'm trying to work that out. I think he's agreeing with us. I don't know at what level, but cats have 4 legs.
You know what? I found out that my cat also takes some of the pain and stuff that I have too. I didn't realize that.
Oh, wait till you get a dog, man. They're going to be...
Oh, gracious. Let's see.
Put it in the chat, folks. What kind of dog should Wayne get?
Debbie says, yes. You know what, Wayne? I know what you're saying, Wayne, but a Republican versus Democrat system, either you're for the country or you're not. Rhinos might as well side with the Democrats. Let's see. It is a Republican versus Democrat system until President Trump came along and mixed both of those Republicans and Democrats together. Yes. Yeah.
Well, and I'll say, if you are looking at it objectively, what's happening with MAGA in the Republican Party happened with the Democrats and Bernie around that 2016 timeframe. They rejected their corporatist wing. It was insane communists. And that's where the squad came from and the Bernie bros and all that. So both of your establishment parties, the Democrats and Republicans, who are like your elite political class that have sold us down the river, like one is being hit with a right-wing America First, one's being hit with a left-wing communist bent agenda. And so, I'll be curious what the parties look like in 20 years. If you were a plumber 20 years ago in Minnesota, you were part of the DFL party, Democrat Farmer Labor Party, 100%. If you were a union member, you were there. Now, if you're a union member, blue collar, working class, you're a MAGA Republican. Like, we're seeing a political shift. I don't think people fully understand.
Yeah. Another thing, Canada is increasing electricity to
It'll be fine.
You all right, man?
Yeah. So here are the reports. Canada, which supplies a significant percentage of electricity to some Midwestern states, Minnesota, and a couple others. I forget them off the top of my head. They're talking they're going to throw a tariff on there. Now, Trump just responded in the last couple hours saying he's going to tariff them. I mean, oh yeah, Wayne does need a dog. I'm just going to say, like, Canada, never bite the hand that feeds you. And, we need them more than, they need us more than we need them. So
really, I understand us saying that, but they got this big old chest right now, and I'm wondering how you like in 2020, like when Mitch McConnell, like when some of those Republicans said that they were going to vote for Joe Biden and stuff. You weren't here, but here on the show, I was like, something's up. Yeah, to me, I was like, why in the world are they bucking their chest now? Why are they coming out now? In big numbers, these Republicans saying that they're going to vote for Joe Biden, knowing full well that a lot of people are going to vote for Donald Trump. Why now? And Mitch McConnell, when later on after Biden took office, then he started talking this stuff about President Trump. I'm like, why? He's speaking like his chest is all out, and I was like, these people know something to be speaking like this. And for Doug Ford to come out there yesterday and say, yep, we're going to do this. We're going to do it. And to these 3 states and stuff and everything, you would have thought he would have backed down. He ain't backing down. And
here'll be
and the new leader isn't backing down either.
Well, we'll get into that. I mean, here's what's funny about it. First, I don't know how Canada elects the head of their country to be some banker that hasn't lived in Canada for a decade. Like, somebody riddle me that. But I guess that kind of answers its own question. Yeah. Here's what's going to be funny with the Canada thing. We should never have been dependent on Canadian electricity. There should be an American company producing electricity for Americans. And if anything, we should be sending energy to Canada. And short term, okay, my electric bill can triple, whatever. Long term, that's going to help President Trump move the needle, saying, okay, Canada, we want 0 of your electricity. We're just going to make it here because we are more than capable of producing electricity in America. And that's exactly the American First movement. Like, if China wants to get sticky about, oh, we're not going to send stuff to you guys, whatever, that just means we need to be reliant on ourselves, not other countries. We're the greatest nation in the history of mankind. We can make our own electricity. Let's figure it out. Let's get some nuclear plants built, whatever it is. Let's do that. The other thing, though, that you were talking about Mitch McConnell, you made a good point. I didn't want to let sneak by. Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer are on the same team. Kevin McCarthy and Nancy Pelosi are on the same team. They try to get us mad at each other and fight each other, but they are on team elitist. They're going to screw over the middle class, the American citizen. They do it differently. They get paid by different people. Yeah, Kev, what clown outsourced electricity? Like, that is full on like window liquor. But no, I mean, like, when all those people come out speaking against President Trump, that's because they want the political elite and the middle class, and they want to keep screwing us over. So,
I also saw in the headlines that China is upping their tariffs with Canada to 100%.
Yep.
And I'm like, wait, Canada,
This is
wait a
getting
minute.
spicy right now.
Yeah, this is getting nuts. This is getting super nuts now.
Don't look at your 401k for 6 months, folks. I'm just saying. Don't look at your Bitcoin. Don't look at your 401k. Don't look at none of that. Give it 6 months.
Agriculture, China is doing 100% tariffs on Canada's agriculture. It's like, wait a minute, I didn't know y'all were having beef. Okay, if that's the way it goes. I don't even know what's happening with Ukraine and whatnot. I was going to check out later today what's happening with Ukraine and stuff, but
the Ukraine stuff's just fascinating. Zelensky, it sounds like actually. See, when you look at Zelensky, yesterday we talked about drug use, and some of our audience shared their stories. We shared some of ours. And if anybody has known somebody who is a drug user, you know there is erratic behavior. And it's like one day this happens, one day that happens, one day the other thing happens. For anybody that's ever seen a Zelensky speech, like I think everybody can identify why Zelensky, like one day's this, one day's that. And he is running scared because he knows when this war's over and they have elections, it's going to get really ugly for him, man. He is going, like, his best case scenario is he gets sent to a desert island to live out his days like Napoleon. That's his best case scenario.
Yeah. This Palestinian protester, Colombia.
Love it.
You were talking about that. Can you block that one?
That's on Rumble. You got to do that.
On Rumble. I can do that on Rumble.
Yeah. Corn-filled somethings we can't say on here. Oh, yeah. Kev nails it. That's probably Carl's alternate account.
Oh, is that?
No. Wayne's going in. Corn-filled blank.
Goodbye.
Have a nice day.
So, yeah, I got it.
I love the trolls. They're fun. On my personal Facebook, one of my biggest trolls, and I don't post a lot politically, but I'll post like funny stuff like Golf of America. It is my high school English teacher. He always goes on there and rants, and I just love it. It's like some of you people are just insane. He was trying to make the argument the government's not corrupt today. I'm like, what? Like, I don't even have words for you. Thank God you're retired.
The government needs an exorcism to get rid of the corruptness that's in there. That's basically what that is. Yeah, and guess what? I am watching what's happening with Tesla around the country, and I know and I disagree with President Trump on this. He said that the liberals are doing it. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on now. You got some independents and some never Trumpers out there too. That I mean, it's a whole group up. And guess what? They're mad at Elon. Seriously, they're mad at Elon. And I think President Trump knows this anyway. He's like, hey, they aren't firing off at me. They're firing off at me.
Well, it's funny you say that because I think part of this Trump-Elon dynamic is Trump's like, I'll let him shoot at you instead of me.
Yep.
That's why we were talking about, like, everybody's worried about Trump and whatnot. Yep. Trump's sitting back there drinking his Diet Coke going, okay, so the crazy lefty shot up a Tesla dealership. Yeah, I guess they're not shooting at me. Like, I'll take that.
President Trump don't drink, but he's like, he ain't mad at me. Go ahead, cut. Hey, Elon, cut some more.
Right, keep going, Elon. I'll be over here if you need me. He's realizing he doesn't need to be in charge of everything. Although I will say what's happening, leftists, like, we're only a month and a half into Trump term. By year 2, we're going to have murder on the streets. I mean, there was an InfoWars reporter that was killed.
Can't do it. Can't do it, Jay.
Just saying.
No, they can't do it because this is the golden age. Everything's changed now.
I'm just saying the lefties are insane, man. They keep getting crazier.
But not
back to the kid that got deported. This story is amazing. So,
well, actually, he's not deported yet.
No, he's not deported yet. They're trying to.
Not deported yet.
So this guy comes to America on a student visa and gets a green card.
Yeah.
And he thought it was a good idea to lead campus protests on college campuses that were pro-Hamas.
Yeah.
Not just pro-Palestine,
Stupid idea.
pro-Hamas.
Idiot idea.
And as a green card holder,
Yep.
it's like you're a provisional employee. You're
Yep.
not an employee.
Nope.
You don't have First Amendment rights like a citizen because you are just a provisional person here. You know, it's like when you get hired at a job and you're in your probationary period. Like that's what a green card is. They're just, the left is just discovering that that's a thing. And if you look it up, there's certain things you can't do as a green card holder or you lose your green card status. One of them is supporting terrorist organizations, which Hamas is labeled as of 1997 by the U.S. government as a terrorist organization. So giddy up, go enjoy your trip back home.
Yeah, that the lawyer that he has is trying to keep him into the country right now.
Right.
And I come from a town called Cambridge, Maryland. Many of y'all probably don't even know the history of Cambridge, Maryland right now. But if you go and look on Wikipedia, you'll probably know about what happened in 1967. Actually, there were a couple of times in the 60s that there were some huge major protests. But in 1967, a year before I was born, the black side of the town almost burned down. And there was a Black Panther that had rode into town that basically said, if you don't give us our respect or whatnot, then, you know, we'll burn this town down. Well, there was a shooting while he was giving a speech, and they didn't kill him. They grazed him, and he got out of town in a hearse. But the town was left burning.
Yep.
And Spirity Agnew had something to do with calming that situation, which helped him be vice president a little bit later. But Congress came up with amendment to the Constitution, I think. God darn, he's back again. Congress came up with an amendment to the Constitution basically saying you cannot cross state lines and start riots. You cannot cross, or it's a federal offense. Okay. Yeah. And that was because of what happened in Cambridge, Maryland. Because another thing too, Cambridge is so close to Washington, D.C., they had to do something, you know. And if I could add to the story a little bit, again, I was born in 1968, not even a year after all that had happened. Through my childhood, we didn't know nothing about it.
Right.
So, you know, I'm 5 years old. My best friend is white. I'm going over to his house. We're playing in the pool together.
You never cared about race.
Just a few years from that, we're just having fun and stuff. We didn't know. His parents probably knew, but we didn't know anything, you know. But yeah, he was my best friend. As a matter of fact, when he left, I cried because, you know, my best friend has left. Best friend is gone. But yeah,
it's remarkable. 60s, 70s, you know, like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, like we cared less and less and less about race.
Yeah.
You know, and you could actually make fun of each other over racial characteristics and nobody got offended.
You could.
You know what I mean? And it was just like kind of how, especially guys, that's how we interacted with each other. You know, if we're not giving you a hard time, we don't like you, you know, and you know, now it's like everybody's careful with what they say.
I remember in the same town as a sophomore or junior, I was working, and when I got off school, and I would two of my friends would drive me to work. And what was crazy was you're driving in this pickup, they got a shotgun in the window. And,
Right.
and then
Hillbillies.
hillbilly straight, especially the one driving, because he always wore overalls to school.
Nice.
And the other one was kind of sweet walking, but he would be in the passenger side, and I'd be in the middle all the times, even though I didn't like it. Man, look, this looks crazy. I'm sitting in the middle, both of y'all. This is nuts. You want to go? Yeah. I got to get to work, but it wasn't a race thing back then. We didn't, it wasn't on that race. That's crazy. Okay. PM Reese said, love Archie Bunker. Well, everybody did. Well, everybody laughed at Archie Bunker. It's when Sammy Davis Jr. and the Jeffersons were on the show, then it was really good. But sometimes not sometimes. The old joke is there's a lot of truth in the joke. There's a lot of truth in the joke. So, let's see. The Dow right now is down 574.
Don't look at your 401k, folks. Pro tip.
Yeah, your 401k. No, actually, it just jumped. Now it's 599. Yeah, President Trump is right. Well, a whole lot of people are right. This doesn't have anything to do with the economy. It just has everything to do with your savings. And I understand telling people not to look at it, but when you tell people not to look at it, people tend to look at it. It's like, don't touch that; it's hot. That's how humans are, so.
Yeah, I'm just saying with some of that, like we're going to go through some economic turbulence and we'll come out, on the better at the end.
Do you think that's a smart move for individuals that were already hurting to say short-term pain for long-term goes, because that's a huge risk. You know that, right?
It is. Here's the reality. So let's assume Donald Trump wants to really fix America. Let's say that's his motivation. You have to cut off this government spending. You have to cut this ridiculous stuff like USAID. You have to get jobs back into America. So if I said, okay, I have this 4-year term to really do this, how am I going to do it? Then you need to say, okay, I've got to be aggressive, get after it. And I've got a 2-year window, which is essentially what he has, because he's got to get this done in a year and a half so that we get through the dip and we get in the upswing, so that in midterms, hopefully we see positive action. And then on that positive action, we can carry the midterms, give him a bigger majority. And then his last 2 years, he can get more stuff done legislatively. That is probably my gaming of President Trump and what he's looking at and his plan and all that. So I think you'll see a dip. I think you'll see an upswing, and I think Trump's trying to get it done before midterm so he can get a stronger midterm. And I was curious about the Dilly team. Somebody made a comment about Dilly team is trash. I got blocked by Brandon Dilly once. I think I still am.
Dude, I've been blocked. I've been blocked for years.
Oh, have you? I'm like, man, what did I do to you? I'm blocked by Ryan Fournier too, which sometimes it's just random to see who blocked you.
How did you get blocked by Ryan Fournier?
I have no idea. No idea. I'm blocked by Dave Rubin, but that makes sense.
Well, I was blocked by Rubin first, so yeah. I mean, we're on that Hall of Fame for him. But did you say something about him and him getting arrested or something?
Who?
Ryan Fournier.
No, I didn't say nothing about nothing. I don't know what I did to offend Ryan Fournier.
Yeah. Well, I'm blocked by Candace Owens, so whatever.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Sometimes it's so funny. Like, I think my entire block.
And Charlie Kirk.
Huh?
And Charlie Kirk.
You got blocked by Charlie Kirk? There you go.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
got
block nobody on Twitter. I will say this: I've blocked like 3 people, and they were all people that made fun of my wife because I have our picture on Twitter. And like, man, you can call me fat, stupid, smelly, whatever.
yeah,
I ain't gonna have you saying nothing bad about my wife.
yeah. I block name people. People to call me that disrespect me or
No, I don't. Yeah,
you know.
you can say whatever you want about me, folks. Just
Well, the thing is, if it's a discussion or disagreement, I'm fine. We can talk all day, or you can have your say. But when you start getting into that name calling, and I haven't said anything to you about it, or I was like, wait a minute, hold on now. Now, all of a sudden,
Candace all over the Frenchie trannies.
see what?
Candace over the Frenchie trannies. What happens if it comes out that she's right? Like she
I don't.
has this
I don't
conspiracy
think she
theory
is.
going.
I just think the woman's just ugly. I'm just sorry. I do. I mean, people. There are manly looking women out here. We've seen some in church. I have. I mean, I've seen some in the supermarket. Some of them have little whiskers down here, and some of them have this right here. They are women. They're straight women.
I'm just saying, I see enough smoke in the weirdness of their relationship to think it warrants further investigation. Not that it changes anything, but it's just entertaining.
Yeah.
Candace has really gone in some weird places, though, man.
Yeah, she wants to be another Oprah. But then again, let me ask you something, and then you can think about it. Tomorrow's hump day.
We'll talk about it tomorrow.
We can touch on this if you want to, but how old is your daughter?
26.
26. How old are you again?
51.
51.
Or yeah, 50. Sorry, I'll be 51.
Okay, 51.
I will be. Sorry, I'm 50 right now.
Okay. Say that your daughter's married, but say that your daughter met someone who was 35 years older. That's older than you, to tell you the truth, because you're 25. So say your daughter met somebody that was 35 years older than her. And he came to you and he's like, well, actually, they came to you and he wants to get married. He's 35 years. Now, when he was 35 years old, your daughter wasn't even born. Now he's 60 something and your daughter is 20 something. How'd you really feel about that?
Well, this is an interesting question.
Well,
because our daughter, her significant other, they're not yet married. They live together, own a house, all that. He is 18 years older than her. And and it's funny because whatever that math works out to, like he would have been closer dating Jen than dating Amanda.
I was thinking, it's like he's 7 years younger than you. So
yeah, he's 7 years younger than Jen, but he's 18 years older. And here's what I'll say. And just to add to it, he's kind of a crazy Democrat. Like, so that is tough. The thing that I will say about it is she loves him and he treats her like a queen. So he has our full support. I mean, I'm even trying to help him like start a business so that he doesn't have to work a crappy job. Like he's looking at maybe doing content creation for left-wing stuff. I'm like, hey, I'll help you because like all my requirement is that he takes care of her because when we die, we need a good man to take care of our kids. So yeah, J-Rob does have a sitcom household going on. It is. I think and I got my 2 little dogs.
The reason why I asked you this is because of this. And I want to get it.
Is your daughter dating an older man?
No. It ain't gonna happen. But it better not happen. Situation is this, Rob. There are a whole lot of older men looking at these younger girls online, and we always talk about these predators and stuff like that. So when you get into 35 years, 35
I would have
years.
never been okay with 18 before this scenario, to be honest.
So I think me and you are in the same ocean when we're talking about 35 years. It's too much. But in this world of politics and stuff, that's what you see. You see older people and younger people, and it's okay. It's all right. But then they hit out at other people, other predators that are going after these 18-year-old and 19-year-olds. If the people are 35 years old, you're talking about what, a 45-year-old trying to mess with your 20-year-old daughter, or a 50-year-old trying to mess with your 19-year-old daughter. That, I don't know, Jason, that curls my milk a little bit. And
I gotta say, it was interesting when we discovered the relationship. Like, we kind of knew they were friends and suspected something, and then actually one of Jen's friends found out first, and she said, "How long y'all been dating?" And it had been a while. And then it's like, have you told your parents? Because if not, they're never going to find his body. Like, we got pig farms in Minnesota. And so they went and told us. And we're like, okay. And I mean, the fact of the matter is they've been together for years. And while I don't agree politically with who she hooked up with, and I wish they were married instead of just living together. And we're pretty traditional, and he's an atheist. Like, there are many things that we disagree on. The one thing we agree on is how important Jen's daughter, how the kid is, and taking care of her for the rest of his life. And if he's going to do that, that's great. If not, I still know where the pig farms are.
There's a whole lot of
I think Kev hit it on the head, though. Wayne's eyeing up a 25-year-old.
Man, please.
Wayne was at the coffee shop getting his drink, and he sees that girl behind there and goes,
"No,
that old.
No way. No, both my girls are 21. I want them, man. I already had that with their mom. I was 10 years older than my girl's mom.
Oh.
But I was 10 years younger than my ex-wife's parents.
Oh, really?
So they were like, wait a minute. They were like, what? But I try to take good care.
A lot of people in the chat got a lot of age gaps on these
relationships. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. God love them. I think we get back to Wayne's dogs.
Okay, guess what? We got to get ready to go.
All right. We'll talk about this tomorrow, folks.
No, we won't. We got to get ready to go. I want to appreciate. I heard my phone, but I don't feel it anywhere. So I thought I left it upstairs. Okay, but thank everybody for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow, Wednesday, Hump Day. I want to thank everybody for listening to. We're not experts about the Medicaid and whatnot. We just gave you some information, and hopefully you'll go and do some research on it and try to find out about the Medicaid. But I think it's something that everybody should know, especially if you have older parents and you had to put them into a nursing home or whatnot. That Medicaid will be coming after your parent or your loved one is gone. You got to be ready for it because they're going to be ready for you. So, Wayne needs a cougar. Maybe I do need a cougar.
That's rich with a dog.
I could do that.
Holy cow. I got to give a shout out to Amber's comment too. I think that is our first LinkedIn comment we've had for a while. Giddy up.
10 to 16 years seems okay after the 10 to 16. Okay. But how about 35, Amber? How about
I'm just 35? Saying, Wayne, she just gave you permission to go after a 25-year-old. Like, giddy up.
Yeah. I mean, but I can see that because a 25-year-old woman, now, if she's talking about a woman, because a 25-year-old woman, and that, please, y'all, please don't get angry at me when I'm getting ready to say this. A 25, I don't know where I should say this.
No, save it for tomorrow. Let's sleep.
Let me see.
Send your hot 25-year-old girl.
Should I say that?
Look at
Should I say that?
Huh?
Check our comments.
Oh, let's see. Oh no, don't say that.
Okay. All right. Well,
We'll wait till
okay.
tomorrow. We'll
All
see.
right. Okay. All right.
How to
Okay.
phrase that.
Okay. Yeah. Help me phrase that tonight.
Right.
So I can say that tomorrow. But you do know why I never bought my ex-wife a watch, right?
Because the stove has a
stove has one. Jason, give us some last thoughts.
All right, I'm going to give you one last thought, folks. Well, two. First, thanks for tuning in. We love you guys. Do us a favor. Give us a like. Give us a comment. Give us a share. And I'm going to give a special shout out. I'm a big comment section guy. I love the comments. And part of my favorite part of doing the show is watching people make connections with one another in the comments. Yeah, Paul posted that. I got to look at it.
No, it's true. Good. It's true. It's true. That's where I was going.
Oh my God, I don't know if I wanted to know that. I don't know if I want to know that. But in the comments, what's fun is you see people forming relationships with each other, saying hi. It's like our little coffee hour where we hang out with each other. And a lot of times we get really great information from those comment sections. Ooh. So really Facebook and Rumble are our most two active comment sections. Some of the folks on some of the other platforms, if you aren't seeing a lot of engagement, go to one of those platforms. You'll find a lot of cool people. And we love hanging out with you guys. And I think K-Gun Girl is right. We vote for Wayne getting a dog. It would change his life. And as Kevin says, dogs are way cheaper than ex-wives, Wayne.
Thank you, Kev. Appreciate that. And with that, we're going to talk to y'all tomorrow. Happy Tuesday night.